Inspirational Creatives, episode 168. Welcome to Inspirational Creatives. I'm your host, Rob Lawrence. Join me every Friday as I chat with successful artists, producers, and creative entrepreneurs who share powerful stories and strategies. They can help you to create the life that you want. Listen each week as these inspirational creatives show you how to take your creativity to the next level. You'll learn how to create a sustainable business that inspires others and gives you the financial freedom and lifestyle that you want. Thanks for listening. Make sure you sign up at inspirationalcreatives.com to get free exclusive bonus material. And now, on with the show. Rob here and welcome to this short action episode of Inspirational Creatives. If you're new to these short action episodes, each Wednesday a new short action episode is published, which will help you to take some life-changing action in your life to help you live more creatively. Often they feature actionable takeaways from a longer conversation that's published every Friday. Before we begin today's short action episode, I want to say a big thank you to a couple of listeners who have inspired me recently. First, I'd like to say hello and a big thank you to Becky Rodriguez from Brooklyn in New York for sending me a mysterious package which contained a beautiful handmade charm for my wife Sandra and an inspiring array of cards containing some stunning landscape images which right now I'm enjoying spending some time with and look forward to sharing soon. I'd also like to thank friend and listener Esther Zimmer from London, who I know will be listening to this episode right now. We got to meet again in person just recently at Yestival, where we first met last year. Esther and her husband, David, kindly gifted me and my family with a small yet delightful hand-painted canvas, which I have up on the wall right here in front of me. It's so nice to connect with you guys, and in such different ways. One of the most profound differences this podcast has made on my life is meeting sincerely wonderful people like you. So in this short action episode, we're going to explore how to ask anyone for anything by looking more closely at the wisdom offered by Ariel Hyatt from episode 167. In episode 167, I spoke with Ariel, who is the author of a new book called Crowdstart, which is out just now. It's a book about how to create a powerful and profitable crowdfunding campaign, and you can find it on Amazon.com. Simply search for Crowdstart. Now, you might be thinking, what has crowdfunding got to do with asking anyone for anything? Well, what I learned from Ariel in episode 167, it's got everything to do with asking anyone for anything. Because it's all to do with your why, your story, and the deep relationships that you develop with others. In that respect, you don't need to be launching your own crowdfunding campaign right now to benefit from some of Ariel's wisdom, which I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes. But before we begin, if you want to learn more about crowdfunding, or you're not sure what crowdfunding is, you might want to go and listen to everything Ariel has to say in episode 167. So in that episode, I asked Ariel this question. And even though it was a question about crowdfunding, her answer was quite revealing, as I believe she uncovered a universal principle which is important to any of us wishing to gain the support of others. So what's the best tip that you could offer for our listener who's perhaps got a few thousand followers and they might be thinking of launching a crowdfunding campaign? Without giving too much away, obviously they'll need your book, but what could they be thinking about right now?
Begin to think about how can you bond to those people more closely before you ask them for anything.
So this is about deepening the connection then?
Absolutely.
And what ways did you approach that when you were approaching your own campaign?
I was in a unique situation, which some of you may be in and some of you may not, where I was pretty diligent about sending a weekly newsletter of tips and articles and observations. So I was in front of a lot of people regularly, which I think was the reason my crowdfunding campaign did well. But I really did learn that, especially during the 30-day journey, it's not just about, how many people are on your mailing list and how often do you communicate with them way before your campaign launches, but really during the 30 days, back to the story. It's not just about the same story on day 1 as it is on day 30, right? You want to be building something.
So in that short answer, there's a ton of stuff in there. First, Ariel talks about sharing your story. Although Ariel is talking about creating a 30-day crowdfunding campaign, the underlying principle she offers, I believe, is universal. You want to be sharing your journey, your story as it unfolds. As Ariel expresses in the context of a 30-day crowdfunding campaign, the story you're going to be sharing on day 1 is going to be different to the story you're sharing on day 30. During that time, during any time, I believe, as Ariel suggests, you want to be building something.
What stories are you telling? What are you sharing? How are you communicating the journey of your crowdfunding campaign to your community? And I have a system in the book where I talk about how to let your story unfold. You don't want to give it all away at the beginning. You want to really let it unfold for people so that they're on the journey with you. They might not reach into their pocket the first week of your campaign. They maybe are a little skeptical, maybe they're busy, maybe they missed it. And so you've got to keep communicating consistently for the 30 days, and you've got to unfold a story. And you've got to go a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper as you get to the finish line. Or else, why are we all crying at the end of the movie and not at the beginning? It's because there's a whole story. So you want to think about your crowdfunding campaign as, not like a movie, that's a bit dramatic, but as something that has a beginning, a middle, an end, and is a journey for your people.
What story are you sharing? How are you communicating your journey right now to your community? Ariel suggests in the context of a crowdfunding campaign, you don't want to give away your whole story from the beginning. You need to let it unfold for your followers so that they are on a journey with you.
Story is what you'll use in any of your marketing. And so your crowdfunding campaign has to tell a story. It has to have a story. It has to be cohesive so that other people can understand what it is you're trying to do, what's in it for them, what this journey really truly means.
Whatever journey you're on, for your followers, it's all about story. Here's what I've learned from Ariel so far. First, you've got to keep communicating consistently, sharing your story as it unfolds with your people. Don't give away too much too soon, but get a little deeper each time you share something. Second, any campaign or journey has to tell a story. This helps your followers to understand what your story means for them and what's in it for them. Third, each story has a beginning, middle, and an end. In the context of a 30-day crowdfunding campaign, which is a story in itself, that may be something that's a little easier to construct and then share. But in terms of deepening our relationships with our own people, that is, on an ongoing basis, remember we've all got multiple stories to share at any one moment in time. So right now, in the context of a newsletter, for example, to connect with your audience, you could be sharing the beginning of one story, the middle of another, and the end of a long or recent one. The important point that I believe Ariel is making here is that you are inviting people, your people, to join you on your journey as it unfolds. This is something that Ariel talks more about in her new book, Crowdstart.
Figure out how to get it to unfold. And I talk about that in the book, literally day by day, step by step, what to do, how often to tweet or Facebook, or how often should you blog, how often should you be sharing your newsletter, what should you do if the money isn't coming in fast enough? Because there's a lot of science and statistics about how much you need to get during even the first 1/3 of your campaign to make sure that you're going to be a success. And so I hope that you'll come and read it so you can do the journey the right way and not be in the 60% who fail.
Got it. As you said earlier, it's all about the story in that sense.
Absolutely.
What about for somebody just getting started? They may not have any followers yet, and they're listening to this and they're thinking, I need to build what Seth Godin calls a tribe. What's the best thing that they could be doing right now? Is it still the good old email newsletter list?
Believe it or not, yes. I can't believe it. Someone said to me at dinner last night, what do you mean? That's so antiquated. We should all be on Snapchat. And I thought, what? There's always going to be a new bright, shiny object in the social media world that is supposed to be the thing that we're all supposed to be doing, but always back to that newsletter list. And the other thing I want to say about that is, and this is really the key, it's not just about the newsletter list. It's about the content in the newsletter. What is going to get people to open it? What is going to inspire your crowd to really respond? That's what's key. So begin to figure that out. Begin to figure out what your angle is. Are you funny? Are you creative? Do you share, hilarious cat videos? Do you curate brilliant reading lists? Everybody can do this. It's not just about having to have a treasure trove of hundreds and hundreds of articles and blog posts like me. There's 100 ways to have creative, compelling newsletters.
As Ariel suggests, everybody can do this. There are hundreds of ways of creating compelling, fun and interesting newsletters. As Ariel validates, a newsletter is the best way of deepening a connection with your crowd, providing you offer compelling content and on a consistent basis. Remember, your audience will always be asking, what's in it for them? What's in it for me? For now, Ariel suggests figuring out how to share your journey as it unfolds. For many people, that can be a challenge, But what we know from what we've learned is that by witnessing the stories of others, we can begin to construct our own. If you're interested in following Ariel's story as it unfolds, you can connect with her at arielhyatt.com. That's ARIELHYATT.com. If you're interested in learning more about crowdfunding and creating your own successful crowdfunding campaign, then I highly recommend Ariel's new book, Crowdstart. Remember that you can find that on Amazon.com or the link in the episode show notes. And finally, to hear more of Ariel's recent story when writing the book, Crowdstart, head on over to inspirationalcreatives.com and look for episode 167. So there you have it, the key to asking anyone for anything at the time you need help or assistance, such as when you're creating your first crowdfunding campaign, is to first deepen your connection with your people over time by sharing your own story and valuable content on a consistent basis. Why not be an active follower of the people in your audience too? After all, great relationships are built on mutual trust and commitment that create the space for deep two-way conversations and connections in a similar way that Esther and Becky have started to connect with me. In summary then, the key to asking anyone for anything is to deepen your connection with your crowd. You've got to communicate consistently, sharing your story as it unfolds. Don't give away too much too soon, but get a little deeper each time you share something. Remember, each story has a beginning, a middle and an end. And with practice, we can learn how to share the relevant parts of our stories as they unfold that keep our community engaged. Of course, when you ask anyone for everything, you're not going to get everything from everyone every time. But by deepening your connection with your crowd, your people, you may be pleasantly surprised by who reaches out to help you, as Ariel was, when the time comes for when you ask for help. As Amanda Palmer says in her book, The Art of Asking, if you love people enough, they'll give you everything.
I think that we all really just want to help each other in our own ways. I mean, I love when you go on Facebook and someone says, Hive, I need a childcare solution in Brooklyn, or Hive, I'm going to Barcelona and I need to know the best tapas bar, or help, I really am feeling down today. Can someone just post something that would make me laugh or smile? I can't stand all of this negative energy I'm feeling from the elections. And it's so cool when in your own little way you can make a tiny difference for someone. That's what crowdfunding is. And anytime, I encourage any of you, if you get that email that makes you roll your eyes going, oh no, another person's looking to get money from me, just go onto their crowdfunding page, give the $5 or $10 or $50 donation. It makes such a huge, huge difference, not only for you, your karma, your dharma, but for them.
Good luck telling your story and connecting with people in different ways today. I hope you found this episode useful. Let me know by dropping me an email at rob@inspirationalcreatives.com. To hear more of Ariel's wisdom, head on over to episode 167 on inspirationalcreatives.com. I'll chat to you soon. Thanks for listening. Nothing beats the stories and advice of an expert to help you raise your creative game. I would love to know what you thought about today's episode, so don't forget to subscribe in iTunes, where you can rate and review the show. If you like this episode, I invite you to share it on Facebook or Twitter with the one person you know who will benefit from the wisdom shared here today. You can find the show notes on inspirationalcreatives.com/podcast. If you have a burning question or a great idea for a guest, head on over to inspirationalcreatives.com/contact, where you can connect with me there.